You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Hey, you're listening to Adulting with Horses, the best place to be if you can't be at the barn. We are your co-hosts and equine authors, Heather Wallace and Natalie Keller-Reinert. As crazy horse girls, we don't take ourselves too seriously in the saddle or out. We celebrate the things that make us different. Join us as we talk about horses and pop culture and get a little weird in a fun way. Thank you for being a little weird with us.
Heather,
Natalie.
guess what?
What?
Guess what?
What?
It is 2 p.m. and I have not had any water to drink today. I have only had coffee. Am I going to die?
No, you're turning into me, except insert Coca-Cola for coffee.
Oh, you're going to die.
It's basically how I get through my day.
You're already dead. That's why you're so pale.
That actually. Yeah, for all y'all that thought I was a vampire, no, it's just dehydration.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, you're going to be fun, I can already tell.
I know, I'm super high. I don't know, I was just having a really good morning and I got to cancel a lot of plans, which was like euphoric. Even though I was looking forward to both of those things, but once they were off my plate, it was like, and then I had like a really good writing morning, and then I drove to town and got more coffee. And I was listening to The Naked and Famous, and like it was really loud, and now I'm here. So
I get you right as you're about to go downhill into your spiral.
No, because I still have lots of coffee, and it was a freebie, so I got some with actual sugar in it, which I don't usually do because I am a cheapskate.
That's cool. I have one home from midterms. She passed her driver's ed class, by the way. So yay! I'm gonna have a driver. I'm not terrified at all. And then I have another who came home with like a tummy ache, and she never really calls out. But so I was like, oh, I'll get you guys something for lunch because I, was having a day off and I didn't want to do anything. So I was like, this is great. She came home early. Don't have to go to the grocery store now. I just called Ugly Dumpling and I had them deliver like soup dumplings.
Yeah.
And then boba. And then my daughters think I'm like the best mom ever. So
yeah,
that's
all it takes.
I mean, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but like my one hot take as a mother of any children, but much less teens, is like when they get cranky, feed them. Just feed them.
Yeah.
Like if they side eye you, feed them. Like just food makes everybody happy.
That was honestly my top recommendation. Like when I was a travel agent and I would send like families to Disney and they'd be like, well, the days are so long. I'd say cookie.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to stay awake and in the zone. Keep giving them sugar. I am not kidding. It's a vacation. This is not real life.
Right.
Until they get to their nap time, take away the cookie, watch them go to sleep. Like,
crash
it
and
works.
Burn. No, it's really, I was running into, I was at the grocery store the other day because that's, all I do. And this woman's kid was getting like really upset in the stroller, and the other kid kept trying to grab everything and was like, grab a box of animal crackers. And she's like, what? I'm like walking past. I'm like, grab a box of animal crackers. And I was like, just open it up and let her eat like one at a time.
Yeah.
It'll keep you going until you hit checkout. Like you'll be fine. Like just distract them and then they'll stop grabbing things off the shelves. Like, because, as a mom of 3 within 2 years, I've had to walk out of the grocery store with a full cart because I've had someone screaming. Like I have the tips, guys.
You should be a power nanny. Like you could do a Substack or just start a YouTube channel and just be like, here are my power tips, and just do like 3-minute clips.
Yeah.
Because that's all moms get.
But then, that's another thing that I have to do on social media that I have to keep track of.
Well, yeah, as per usual, we're very good at coming up with $1 million ideas, and somebody else is going to have to follow through with them because we are but one person each.
What I need is a manager and an assistant, and then think I would be unstoppable.
If I could hire an assistant, like I need an assistant so desperately.
Yeah.
And I said something today on Blue Sky about like, I sent one text and it turned into multiple texts to cancel things, which I knew it would.
Right. Spirals.
And my friend's like, that's why I wish I had an AI to do it. I was like, I wish I just had a human assistant to do it. Like, I don't want to deal with a computer assistant. That sounds horrifying.
No.
Because computers are dumb as boxes of rocks. Bless you, computer. I love you. So yeah, like a human that I could just say, can you like if this isn't on, can you cancel everything else?
Yeah, wipe my day clean.
And I have to call. I can't believe it's already Tuesday because I went to the dentist on Friday morning and they were like, oh, your wisdom teeth have to come out. And it's already Tuesday and I still haven't called like the oral surgeon. And I totally thought on Friday, like, I'm going to do that next week. And I mean, I'm not. Am I? I'm not going to call today.
Sweetie. Sweetie. Okay. And before you guys yell at me, like, I just want to let you know that I'm on it, okay? But also I'm right. So short version, I haven't had a mammography in 3 years, right? They keep sending me reminders. I keep forgetting to make the appointment because I remember to make the appointment and then I'm out and I can't answer the phone or whatever. Then I decide, there's these tests that you can do because apparently mammography is not that great for you. So you can do thermal imaging instead, or you can do this other like tear test thing that lets you know if you have markers that you need to get a mammography. I'm like, I'm going to go do this. Okay. So I buy the test, have not taken it.
Yeah.
It's at home, but then it comes out that mammographies actually can cause breast cancer. And I was like, see, I'm a genius. But it's the ADHD. For me, it's just like I think of it, I'm like, this is what I'm going to get right on top of it. What I need is a clear day. Like not today. Today is a break day. Today is like a sitting on the couch, do nothing day. Like I put on a bra for you at 2 p.m., right? Like a lipstick is all you get. Like it's a bra and lipstick. But like, no, I'm not making phone calls. This is my day off.
100%. I appreciate that you even let me in.
You're
because when I have a day off, I have a day off. Why does it look like there's something on my phone? There's not. You know what it is? It's these Starbucks reminders. They don't go away anymore.
Really? Squirrel.
It just says, well, I was afraid somebody was, because it's not a real day off, right? It's a Tuesday.
Sure, of course.
So,
but we're writers, Natalie.
Well, no, but now I have like, I basically have an employer. Like my poor husband is my business manager. And he had to yesterday he had to take a call with an accountant. And then I went in and checked on him at 4:00 because I hadn't seen him yet. And I was going out to ride and he usually kind of goes outside at the same time as me. And he's just like surrounded by papers and numbers. And I was like, hi. And he's like, it's fine. But like,
you saw the panic.
Have been self-employed for a really long time. And now we have like jobs and it's terrifying.
Well, yeah, you've lost a little bit of that sole proprietorship kind of independence.
That's exactly it. Yeah. And that's what's funny is because the paperwork all says that we run the business, but there's a lot of other people calling the shots.
Well, yeah, people to answer to. I know.
People we hired and we answer to them.
What's funny is I'm going to make fun of Taylor for a second because Taylor has to text me and be like, I'm sorry that I've completely forsaken you for Natalie, who you set me up with. And I'm like, okay, well, don't charge me for the month, I guess. And then I'm just like, are you there, Taylor? And then, from like December to January, I'm like, she's like, I've got this photo shoot once it's done. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like sitting here and almost like, well, I guess I'm not paying her this month. And then suddenly there's like a post that I was like, oh, Taylor's back.
And I'm a bad client because I have it. So Taylor does our social media and she also does photos for both of us now. And I'm supposed to like open up the Trello and look at the social media and like make adjustments. I haven't touched it in like 6 weeks. I'm so sorry, Taylor. I am a bad person.
No. I laugh at Taylor too, but I haven't done that either. So.
But if she posts something that has like a little error on it, I'm all texting her like, Taylor, what is this?
Well, I just go in and like proofread it myself. I'll just like change the spelling.
Sometimes you can't, but yeah.
No, it's funny because it's like I'm so not a micromanager. And then I told her the last time we spoke, I was like, well, this is kind of the direction I want to take. I want to do more of like on camera stuff. I really want to talk to everybody. I think it's like really great.
You've been doing lots of TikToks.
I have, and then I took a break because I was like, well, not sure if I should invest in TikTok time.
I know, right?
And I've been doing like reels and stuff. So like I kind of. She's like, keep on doing it. I'm like, yeah, because you have to do less photo posts. I'm joking, but it is kind of nice and it's working. But yeah, no, like I would die if I didn't have a Taylor. Like she helps me out so much. Because secret, I honestly don't love social media.
I love it, but not like promo is still work. Like I want to get on and waste some time.
Right. I want to have fun with social media.
But when I go, oh God, I have to make a post. That's completely different. So that's where Taylor comes in.
Well, and obviously this last year has been like crazy stressful, and I've maybe been to the barn a handful of times.
Right.
And so, I don't have that as much to talk about as I would like that I can share, like all the divorce stuff. I can't really share that stuff right now. So it's kind of like, okay, guys, you want to know about the chaos of my life? Well, I can't tell you right now, but here's a pretty picture of my horse.
Rest assured, it's chaotic.
I will say, so actually, I don't know if you were on social media, but I did a thing last weekend.
Yeah, I am very excited for you. This is a big thing. So why don't you share with the audience, with the kids?
And this is especially, so in the last, God, I guess 16 years since I've been back into horses, 17 years since I've been back with horses.
It feels like forever, right? But also like I took this huge break, but it's also been 15 years. How?
Well, I also took like 12 years off or 14 years off too. So I'm back, right? And I haven't done, when I was a teenager, I used to do competitive horse shows, right? And so we would do on-site shows and we would do against other barns. Since I've been back into horses, I've done 3 horse shows all on my home barn property. Like I've never gone off property to do a show. So this IEA season was insane. I only was able to do 1 show. And then last weekend, my trainer was like, okay, is Zoe going to do the last show of the season? We want to see if she wants to make regionals, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, we're both off that day. And I was like, I can't bring her and not ride because I've only done 1 show and, didn't get any points because I turned the wrong way. So I put on my big girl britches. For the britches that I actually bought at Equine Affair from Baturi.
Oh, perfect.
Finally dusted them off and put them on. Hadn't taken any of my show stuff out of my bag since November. Haven't ridden more than once since November. And I drove 2 hours and I walked in and they're like, you're getting on. I was like, fuck. Didn't even have time to think about it. They moved the classes and I rode in my first ever off-property horse show.
Oh my God.
In like 30 some odd years.
Wow. That's huge.
It gets better.
Okay.
So they're like, okay, they give you the description of the horses. And so they don't give adults ponies mostly. It's mostly the horses that they give, which is fine. It's whatever. And so I get this like tall gray thoroughbred and they say he's 15.3. It's clearly 16.1. Whatever. Super sweet. Go to get on him. And they were like, okay, he has simple changes, but the only thing is he likes to drop his shoulder and cut into the arena. And you need to really set him up for the left lead canter. I'm like, wonderful. This is all stuff I do on the regular. Not a problem. So I get on him. I'm walking him around and he starts like spooking at other horses, just literally just standing there. I'm like, okay, this will be super fun. And it's early in the morning, so I'm like one of the first people to ride him. And we go into the arena and I'm the first one in. He spooks at the judges, refuses to walk past them. So my friend walks in. I'm like, I'm just going to follow your grumpy ass horse, like 3 horse lengths back. Just to get him like past the scary stuff. He spooks at the Christmas trees in the back, the heat when it goes on. Like he's spooking and everything. And I'm like,
this is the barn where he lives?
No, I think I think they trailered in a whole bunch of horses. So, I mean, he's a nice horse. He's just lacking confidence. So I'm like, oh, he's going to be a chaser. Oh, okay. So I'm going to just, I won't do too much detail here, but like I'll post the video in the clubhouse. There was no chance I was getting a ribbon in this show. The only thing, he had a hard mouth and a really sensitive body. Oh. It was all I could do to keep this horse underneath me from bolting. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
The entire time I trotted past my trainer and I go, oh my God, he's going to take off. Like, she's like, just relax. And I'm like, no. This is the most relaxed I've actually been, shockingly, at any show because I had no time to get worried. This horse did not know what a half halt was. He was like a sit back, grab his mouth and like yank with all of your might to get him to slow down.
Oh.
Yeah. And
so this is a horse that came off the track and he just got thrown into a school program.
Clearly. And so he's definitely like show jumper material. Like he's really like forward. He's like, he wants to go. He doesn't need a lot of legs. So I spent the entire time with a still leg and my hands, when I tell you they were not cute because all I could do was like, hold on to him. And I had to like half halt with both hands. Like it was like a full. So he was super fun to ride, super comfortable. Half the time I had the wrong diagonal at the trot because I had to like sit it a little bit to just get him to like slow down.
Yeah.
The canter was great as long as I stayed on the inside. But, you know, the judges are like, okay, you're going to go from the canter to the walk. And I just start laughing. I'm like, this horse is going to jiggity jog his whole way until we canter next. Like, there's no chance. And so we had 11 in our class. Like, we had a big adult class. I did not place. However, I felt like a real winner because, one, I made riding that horse actually look really easy. Like, you can't tell how hard he was from the video because my daughter was narrating it. It's hilarious. And two, he was so much worse for every other person who rode him. That day, he actually got pulled later.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Like, when a kid went to go get on him and pulled him, the judges were like, absolutely not.
Oh,
this
wow.
horse is done. So I am so proud of like how good I did. And my trainer was like, you know what? I think we need to get you back on horses again. Like, you're so used to riding ponies. Like, that was great. and I start laughing. And then I was like, yeah, we can do that. You know, I actually need to ride if I'm going to compete. And then she's like, how about Quantum, who is her beautiful, young, athletic, biggest horse in the barn that competes 4 foot. Right.
What?
And when he was just newly backed, I was doing training rides on him, right? Like, so I've walk trotted him, you know, whatever. But like, there was a time that his canter was like a buck and bolt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get on that horse. I mean,
yeah,
I'm impressed that my trainer thinks I can ride that. He's not like that anymore, I will say. You know, like lots of body work later. But I am so proud of myself, Natalie. Like, I did the damn thing. I didn't hop off in the middle of the ride, which like I really wanted to. And I stayed on, which is my bar for any horse show, is like just stay on the horse. And then, so I thought maybe next year I'll get like the 6th place ribbon and that will be my next goal, is like just place.
It's wild because that's not the horse show experience I would choose for myself. Where you're like, I'm going to go show up and get on someone else's horse that I've never ridden before. Like, that sounds like shit. Like, I don't want to do that ever. And I don't want to like ride my friends' horses. I'm like, oh, I don't know if this might suck. I don't really know this horse at all. I was just thinking yesterday, I was riding Ben, like, man, I'm so glad I've been riding Ben for like 8 years. I love knowing everything about this horse. And you're going off and just getting on random horses and taking them into show rings. Like, who's the bold rider now?
Well, I mean, I know I'm a weird dichotomy. Like, you don't really
are
know
a weird dichotomy.
Like, I grew up catch riding at the barn I was at. They had like 40 horses, and you would show up and they would give you like, your name would be on the paper, and you would it would be like IEA. Like, you would just be like, oh, I drew Picasso today. Ooh, I drew Flame today. And they'd be like, oh, fuck. And you'd ask the person who rode him before, like, how was he today? Right. And I always got the challenging horses, like, because I was a junior trainer at that point. Like, and this is part of the reason where I like burned out, was because
it's hysterical because like that was a lesson situation how you grew up. That's how I rode like at the track or at, a thoroughbred training facility, where which yearling will I get today? And it was the same thing. You'd ask the rider who had the horse yesterday what happened, and they'd be like, well, they only bucked 3 times. You're like, super.
Yeah,
I didn't choose that either. I hated it.
No, but what I will say about what that has taught me was very quickly, within the first 2 minutes tops. I mean, I'm being generous with that. I could tell exactly what I've got underneath me, like,
for sure,
very quickly. And it's really taught me, like, okay, like I knew immediately that this horse was going to be a chaser. Like, I knew immediately he wanted to follow, he wanted to chase. And so if I was going to canter, I had to keep him on his own line, because if he was behind somebody, we were going to be galloping. Right. And, when I go on these trips, like to Iceland and other places like that, like, I can get on a horse and it's a blank slate, but they tell me what I need to know almost immediately, and I can pivot, like I can adjust.
Yeah.
So that's the one reason why I'm actually a really good rider. I might not have the prettiest equitation, but like I can ride the shit out of most horses. It's just, I don't want to die. You know what I mean? Like I got off that horse. First of all, this show, I did not Lamaze breathe. Like, I actually was quite calm. Like, it was an improvement, but I sweat through my clothes.
Oh, no.
5-minute ride. I was sweating.
So, like, if you didn't have a strong sense of mortality, you could probably be a really successful trainer. Isn't that funny? Like,
oh, yeah.
What's standing between you and being like a gold medalist is the knowledge of death.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%.
Personality is a big piece of this game.
Well, as another flex, okay, that horse had no problem getting his leads and had no problem on the corners with me because I know I have a neurological horse. I know how to ride that shit.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I came home, I'm like, Ferrous, you're an angel, because he would never do that to me. Like, when he gets forward, I kind of giggle because he's not going anywhere. He's lazy as shit.
Right.
You know, I've seen him gallop twice in my life and it's lasted 3 strides each, you know, and it's never been with a rider.
It does make you wonder. Ben gets really strong sometimes at the canter, and I think, where is he going?
Yeah.
He's not a fast horse. Where is he going exactly? What would happen if I just loosed the reins? He'd probably just end up right back at the
Probably
house.
wouldn't go anywhere because I think sometimes they get a little faster for balance, right?
Oh,
because they're weak. And as they get stronger, they get that beautiful kind of lope. And I will say, looking back at the video, which my daughter did take, and I didn't notice this at the point because I guess I was just in the zone and tunnel vision, is the horse that I was on, he was very long like Delight. He had to drop his head in order to, and lift his hind end in order to get the canter, which is a sign of weakness, right? And so, you know, but he had a really comfortable canter. And it's funny because you know, as long as I could keep him under me, I got off and my trainer's daughter goes, good choice to half seat that. You don't want. She's like, that would have been a real bad experience for you if you sat that canter and had a driving seat. I was like, oh no, I don't want to. Like that was hard enough to break him as it was. Like it took me 30 seconds to just get him to walk.
He might not have been able to handle it if he sat, though. He might have just been like, oh, my back. I'm too slow. I can't hold you up.
Is that a fat joke? No, I'm just kidding.
No, not at all. That's a horse joke.
No, he was really good and really fun. I just would have liked a little bit more time to kind of get him to calm down because he was ready to go. But yeah, it was super fun and it taught me a lot actually about myself. And it also taught me that I felt like I deserved a ribbon for riding that.
Yeah.
It's not what they were judging for though.
I really like ribbons. I know. I think I'm going to show maybe at the end of March. It's like forever away, but I also barely rode in January because it was so cold.
Yeah,
it wasn't even funny.
Did iguanas fall out of the trees by you?
They did in South Florida. We don't have any here yet.
Okay.
I've seen them. I saw one at my parents' house last summer, the summer before, which was the furthest north I'd ever seen them. When I was driving to Wellington, I don't know if that was last week or 2 weeks ago, one ran past me in like a service plaza, rest area parking lot. An iguana ran past me and startled the shit out of me because I'm not used to seeing them at all. And I was like, what the hell was that? Oh my God. It wasn't big, but it was an iguana. And he probably had a dormant hour or two last week because it got so cold everywhere.
I can't even imagine how you guys were because that's not, snow. I heard Florida got snow.
My son got snow up in Tallahassee. We had some flurries in the morning, but we had cold 33-degree rain.
That's worse.
An inch and a half of rain.
Ugh.
It was supposed to freeze, and then it didn't freeze after it stopped raining, thank God. So I was out at 9:00 in the pouring down rain, checking under their blankets because they were standing in the rain. Because why would a horse stand in a shelter? Right. I even took the net off their hay. Go eat your hay. There's nothing stopping you. Gorge yourselves. No, let's go out and stand in the rain. So I had to go out and check on, make sure the sheets over their blankets were keeping them dry. I couldn't believe it. It's been unbelievable. And then yesterday, it was 70 degrees. The birds are singing. The sun was out. Last night, I was finishing up. I look over and I see a spider. And I was like, you son of a bitch. It was just below freezing for days and days and days and days and days. And the minute it's 70, the spider's like, hi. So I killed the spider. It's unbelievable.
The cheek of him.
Florida is Floridine. Once again, just went straight back to Floridine with no breaks. But, anything's better than 25 degrees. Oh, there's a huge mosquito. Oh my God, I'm not even kidding. Like it's huge.
So kill it.
I can't. It went past me. It's headed for my ankles and nose. I'm pulling my feet up on my chair. Oh my gosh.
Go to Florida, get attacked by some kind of
so big. It was a huge mosquito. Yeah. So
Florida's flirting. That's hilarious.
My God.
You could not have paid that mosquito more to prove your point.
I've never blanketed this much in my entire life. We started blanketing Thanksgiving. I have acquired more blankets. Ben has a light blanket and a heavy blanket. Like, this is absurd.
Well, and I was talking to somebody about this the other day because, obviously in New Jersey we get seasons, right? But one of my clients just moved back from LA and she's like, I really miss this. I miss the seasons. But she's like, but where did they go? Like, it's horrendously hot in the summer and it's frigidly cold in the winter, but like spring and fall seem to have abated. Like and I was talking to somebody else about this the other day. Like, we seem to have just 2 seasons now,
Yeah.
and it's like gone are the days of a beautiful fall, it's just a blip and it's gone.
Fall, to me, when I lived in Maryland, I always thought spring and fall were really short, but I was also a child, so I don't really know. Like in Florida, we definitely, it's on paper that it's hotter in the summer for longer now. Like anyone could argue that. And then I've never known a winter this cold in my entire life, honestly, for the state of Florida. Like, it was just crazy. So now it's in the 70s and the 60s, and if it can just like stay this way for a month, right, I'll call it fair. And I know it's going to get hot again in March, and that's fine. Whatever.
Well, and I know we're supposed to get another Arctic freeze like starting tomorrow. So
really,
I don't know if Florida's supposed to get affected by that, but like it's another polar freeze. So I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm broke because I had to not work for 2 weeks in the winter because the kids got 2 weeks off of school, and like, hello, I'm the primary parent, and then I've had to reschedule like every horse this in January.
Oh, wow.
Because it's under 20 degrees. And you can't, if you know anything about body work, like I can work under the blankets, but if you're working on an animal in less than 20 degrees, they're going to be so tight and tense. And you're just going to be working against yourself. And like, people will just be wasting their money because it's not going to be as effective. Yeah. So I tend to reschedule. And there was a couple of days it was like 5 degrees. And I'm like, there's no way that we're going out. It's dangerous for everybody to work in those conditions. So I haven't worked in like 6 weeks.
I didn't know it was that cold.
Oh, no, we had -7 degrees with the wind chill. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was wearing 2 or 3 base layers with my Redding out with another jacket over it with, it was not great. It was a polar winter.
We were all wearing all the clothes we had here. Yeah. When I was driving back from Wellington, it was terrible. Okay, so I drove to Wellington and it was like 45 degrees here. And I took the turnpike, so I would get out every hour or so and it would be warmer and warmer and warmer till I got to West Palm Beach and it was like 70 degrees. Like, this is absurd. And it was dark. And then I drove back like 2 days later and the exact same thing happened, colder and colder and colder. But what was really funny was I saw there's plenty of horse people making that trip between Wellington and Ocala on the turnpike. So you pass lots of horse trailers. And I kept running into the same like big rig. And this woman would get out and go to the restroom. And she kept adding layers. And you could just tell she was like an old race tracker. Yeah. And she was wearing every piece of clothing she owned, like multiple pairs of sweatpants, multiple hoodies. That was it. These people, we don't all have coats, okay?
No, especially in Florida, you guys don't have coats.
A lot of people don't have coats.
No,
when we moved to New York, Calvin didn't have a coat. And I didn't know what to do because they were expensive. And I didn't realize coats were expensive. It was insane.
My dad lives in North Carolina and they got like 3 inches of snow.
Yeah.
Which, it happens, but rare. He called me the other day and he goes, Heather, have you been to Costco lately? I'm like, no, because I can really, like, I love Costco, but you can't pay me to fight the crowds. And so I was like, Dad, it's Saturday. Like, are you a psychopath? And he goes, I need you to get me the all-weather sweater boots. I'm like, what? He goes, I bought a pair last year at your Costco because they don't sell those down here. I need size 10. It's for a friend. It's desperate. And I'm like, God. My God. Okay. He goes, so if you go by Costco, I was like, well, nobody just goes by Costco to like pick up a couple things. It's like an adventure. So I was like, well, do you want me to check their website? I don't know, Heather. I'll Venmo you. Like, we need these, and they don't sell this shit down here. I'm like, okay, sir. I'm so sorry. So I'm getting like emergency calls from North Carolina.
Oh my God. We're all getting like extreme weather. We have to support each other.
Meanwhile, what's so funny is like I went up to Vermont a couple of weeks ago because I was, we're closing on the cabin, and so I was setting it up so it looks like beautiful for the new owners, and it was warmer there than it was in New Jersey. Okay, it was probably like 20 degrees.
Oh my
up
God.
there, and I'm not even wearing my jacket. I was like, oh, it's pretty nice. I got my base layer, my sweater on. I'm like running around. It's like the level of cold in Vermont is different than the level like you can handle more up there.
Is it drier? Is it that why? Because you got the damp.
Yes. And so in New Jersey, we're right on the coast. We get that wet salt air and it gets in your bones. It's terrible.
I know all about that.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. So
Ooh,
yeah,
I get it from both sides.
Yeah, so it's horrendous. But and then of course, not to take everything down a notch, but like my pony almost fucking died.
That's right.
So thank God we've never had a colic experience ever in the 7 years I've had him. He's never colic, not once.
So it was one of those cold weather colics?
Yeah, it was the 5-degree day.
Mm-hmm.
He just, and it's nice. You could always tell an animal who gets body work regularly because he immediately started pointing to his tummy. Immediately. And then, the tail switching began. And then when he didn't get excited about food, my trainer immediately called me and she goes, he's colicking. I know it. And so I got there, the vet got there, and it was an impaction, but we had to like 5 days of tubing, electrolytes, and IVs. And we avoided the hospital because he doesn't trailer well.
Sure.
So we were trying to avoid the hospital and we did. And he's perfect. And he now, is playing in the field with his brother, acting like he didn't just, cost me Christmas next year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's a long time. Yeah. The Spring Hill Equine, which is my vet, actually posted right before the really bad cold snap their recommendation for cold weather. And I'm sure you know what it is, but I'm just going to share it for everybody, which is to throw your pone some legume hay, some alfalfa or some peanut, and let them eat that up to get their insides really rolling. Like, she was so funny. She's like, this is not the time to put out a round bale of Coastal.
No.
And I would like to just state for the record that it is never that time. Please don't do that. Kill your horse. But yeah, she was like, if you don't usually feed alfalfa or peanut, go ahead and throw out a few flakes to get their insides going. Salt their food so they're drinking. I double soak their feed when it's cold, like so much water. I'm like, enjoy the gruel. They're used to soaked feed anyway, but it just becomes like a whole other thing. Because I watch their water levels every single day, and I can see when they're not drinking. They do not drink when it gets cold. They're like, ew, water.
Well, and that's the thing. My pony doesn't really drink, period. And so, it's never been a problem. But I gave him the hydration hay. And that's helped for sure. Like, it's been great. And he usually gets it in the summer, but like, you could see he didn't want it too liquidy. He only wanted the hay. And meanwhile, the vet's like, don't give him too much hay. So he's now on electrolyte paste just to get through like these really cold things right now. And then we're going to go back and I'm going to be a lot stronger about the salt because I've been a little terrible. Again, haven't been there as much as I should, but he's in great hands and it's lovely, but it was super scary. I got to be honest. I knew about colic. Obviously, I've worked with a lot of gas colic cases and we've had impaction cases, but never my own horses. And it put me through the ringer. I was like a hot mess for a week.
It's so hard. I haven't had a single colic since I stopped feeding Coastal hay.
That's great.
And that was a long time ago. My first horse died of colic.
Really?
Yep. Well, technically he died of an allergic reaction to Banamine, but he'd been colicking for a week. Yeah. And at the time it was sand colic apostrophes, but it was just impactions caused by Coastal. We all fed Coastal back then and didn't feed enough salt, quite frankly, so they weren't drinking enough to break down that shit.
Yeah.
So,
that's
tough. Yeah, during the superstorm of 93, no less.
Oh, I remember that.
It's a hell of a day. Yeah. I turned 13 that day.
That's a hard lesson to learn as a 13-year-old.
Yeah, and you know what? It wasn't really a lesson yet because it didn't take till I was much older to figure out what the hell happened. And then I was like, oh, now all the pieces fit into place. But at the time, it was like, well, it was the Banamine. He shouldn't have gotten the Banamine, which is true. He shouldn't have, but he shouldn't have been in that position either. Poor horse. So, you know, this is a lifelong learning journey.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because I love to learn. I'm always learning, and my vet is great. So the first day, I'm slightly panicking, trying not to panic, and my trainer is kind of helping the vet. And I'm just standing there completely at a loss of what to do, wanting to help, but knowing I'll just be in the way. And then the second and third days, my trainer was obviously had to go back, and she was training everybody, and so I was now then teching. So I was able, holding the needle or the IV bags and holding the twitch for the intubation tube and like all that. So I learned an incredible amount of stuff I never want to have to use again.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So it was hard. And then of course on day 3 or 4, my vet was her day off. So we were texting, but she sent one of her coworkers out who is primarily a track vet. And it is so fundamentally different how a track vet works versus how a regular vet works, right? Like the amount of like, there's let's not put betadine on anything. Like we're just going to go straight into the old hole for the catheter. We're just going to go straight in. We're just going to time his money, bitches. And and then my vet is like, well, we'll under sedate him. He's kind of a lightweight. This one was like, nope, that's not enough. Let's double it. I'm like, woo, okay, we're going for it.
Not only that, but they can't, you know how your vet will turn to you and be like, well, you can handle that, right? And the track vet can't do that because at the track, you're not allowed to do anything yourself.
Right.
You can't have a syringe in your tack room that might get caught, so the track vet's like, they have to handle every aspect. Whereas our vets are going, I'm not coming back for this, right? And you're like, no. It's fine. I'll handle it.
Oh, no. I was obviously like, oh, I need electrolytes or I need, the track vet's literally just grabbing a pile and just throwing them at me. I was like, do you know how many you gave me for the bill? She's like, it's fine. Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Right. There's so many weird differences. That would be really funny to put into a book. And I don't want to share their secrets too much.
Right.
Either.
And you don't want to cause a problem either because, that can be weird. So but I really appreciated it. And she was very, very kind and very nice. And I enjoyed it very much. And, obviously we're like talking and she's just like shoving this catheter in and she's telling me about her show jumping course at this Olympic farm that she's at. And I was like, when's my vet coming back? Like, can we bet it down after? I was like, what if he gets cellulitis?
Thoroughbreds don't slow down enough to get cellulitis around their stall.
He's only half thoroughbred, okay? Yeah. So, but yeah.
She's just never had to deal with a sedentary horse. She's like, what? Your horse would stand still?
She goes, and I quote, is he a Morgan? And I'm like, no, he's like a Welsh thoroughbred cross. She goes, he looks like a Morgan to me. He's really cute. And then she's like, oh my God, he was so good for me. And I was like, yeah, because he's not like super hot. And like,
I would kind of argue that a Welsh Morgan or Welsh thoroughbred and a Morgan are almost the same thing if you think about it.
They look a lot alike. I can see it. I can totally see it. But I was like, no, he's not a Morgan. And I've got his papers. And she's like, he's so cute. And I showed her the other one. I was like, look at that thoroughbred. She goes, huh, he doesn't look like a thoroughbred. I'm like, I know. I let his mane grow out. He's also quite big. Well, he's beefed up quite a bit since his days of racing. So, so it was scary and traumatic, but also like a great learning experience for me. And I hope I never experience it again. But it's funny because like Delight is like the over drinker. Like you put a fishbowl in front of him, he'll have that thing empty and a second fish included. Like he doesn't give a shit. So I'm out in the little like rest paddock with Ferrous and Delight's next to us. And Delight is panicking because Ferrous and I aren't with him. He's like, why are you over there? We're having to count poop and whatever. And so Delight goes over and I swear to God for 10 minutes straight, he's just drinking water out of that big trough. And he's just looking at me, water dribbling. He's like, look what I can do. Like, he's like, I was like, yes, you are the best boy. Thank you for drinking. Like, show off. Always a show off.
Because they always get praised. We love it when our horses drink water. We're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Let's video them. Look at their ears move. Oh my God. So adorable. I posted a video of Ben drinking on TikTok and it got like 1,000 views.
There you go.
Which is pretty good for TikTok. I was like, it's just him drinking. It's nothing cuter than a horse drinking water.
There's
It's
nothing
adorable.
cuter, unless you have the ASMR sound of them just munching.
Mm.
You know, I also like the little lip when they do the little lippy things, like when they're kind of trying to grab a treat.
Oh
and
yeah,
they're, like moving. Yeah,
yeah.
so cute. It's
Who
so
was
cute.
it? Oh, I saw a friend the other day. She has a mouthy little Arabian. So cute. And she posted a video of him pulling on like just a little sort of tie on her jacket.
Yeah.
And I watched that and then I watched it again.
Yeah, of course.
And then I watched it again. Like,
because it's
so
adorable.
so cute.
I will venture to say that most of my TikTok are animal videos.
Well, I would hope.
Yes. I mean, dog. I had a cute, so I love goats. I love goats. They're like absolutely awkward, and I aspire to be a goat. So because they embrace, they embrace their awkwardness. So I was at a saddle fit yesterday, and we were outside. The horse couldn't tie, so she's just like holding the animal, and she goes, "Oh, here comes our goat," and her name was like Missy or something like that, or Snuffles, Waffles. Her name was Waffles.
Oh, that's a good name.
Oh my God, great name. And apparently she just randomly roams because she keeps breaking through the gate. So my client is like, oh yeah, I'm taking her and her brother home, or her sister home, because like they keep breaking out and they're worried that like with all the trucks and everything, it's a working ranch. And she immediately, she asks for pets. She immediately goes in the attack room, and you see her, and suddenly you just hear her shoving shit out the door. So she's just picking things up and throwing them.
Oh
and
my
I'm
God.
like, what is she doing? And she goes, oh, she's looking for her treats.
Oh my God.
I was like, stop. Are you serious? And then I made her come out. Like I went over because she was going to spook the horse. And I was like, come on over here, Waffles. And she comes over and she headbutts my table and tries to knock it over. I'm like, God, I love goats so much.
That is exactly why they're not for me. I do not need chaos. I don't want it. There was a goat in the barn next to us at Aqueduct, and the assistant trainer was a young woman from Jumpers. And I think that goat was one of the reasons she left. She went back to Jumpers.
Really?
Goat was obnoxious. It pinned her in the tack room once.
Oh, no.
And that's how goats treat me too, right? Like goats know. Goats know if you hate them.
Yeah,
And
they do.
I have a deep ancestral dislike for goats. And they know it's there. And so they're like, hey, bitch, I'm going to chase you and shove you. And I'm like, we're not doing this. I'm getting back in my car and I'm leaving. There was a huge goat that lived at Belmont at the time too, on the backside. And he was by the clinic.
Yeah,
and I would go to the clinic
boy.
being like, please, I don't know if it was a boy. I just know it was a big goat. And I would walk around it. Like I would give it a lot of room. Like I don't want the goat to get me.
That's how I am with chickens and geese. Like I immediately will get back in my car if they come at me.
There are geese near me now, and there shouldn't be because the owner doesn't have any water. When I think it's really shitty of her to have geese when there's no water. They were like hissing at a woman walking down the street as I was driving by, so I honked my horn at them, and now they hate my truck.
Yeah. No, so they hold grudges.
Yeah.
It is intimidating, and geese are big.
Yeah, they're very big. I don't know where they
big.
came from. They're like full. She did not get goslings. She got adult geese from somewhere.
Really?
And they're like 4 feet tall. Like they're huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's one barn I work at that they have a mated pair, and then they have a whole little area, and there's a whole bunch more birds. But the owner of the barn, because like I like ran one day, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No." They literally opened their wings and were hissing at me.
Mm-hmm.
And like that was the most terrifying experience of my life. I mean, well, they sound like charging thoroughbreds, but I was like,
they're not predators.
Yeah, I like boop them on the nose. I'm like, no, bad horse. And then he's coming at me, and she's like, oh, just take your boot and kick them. And I was like, so they could come back harder? No, thank you. Like, So now
somebody told me that with a rooster, and the rooster just got worse after it kicked him. It just got worse.
The rooster will literally jump and claw you in the face. Like, no thanks. Yes. I'm good. I will get back in my car, and I will see you another time.
Yeah, pretty much.
No. But for me, for goats, I have one client. She's a vet. She's like, oh, I got 3 baby goats. They're going to be therapy goats. Why don't you come and say hi, when you're done with my horses? And so she just opens the little shed. I walk in, and the goats are like, blah, blah, and I run in, and I lay on the ground, and they just all come over, and they snuggle with me. It's so cute.
That's pretty nice. I mean, I wouldn't be furious about baby goats.
Yeah.
That wouldn't outrage me.
They're so cute when they like bounce around and like they like parkour off things. I can't. Like they make me laugh so much.
Yeah. Yeah, they're almost like kittens.
Yeah.
Kind of. They've got that clumsy flinging themselves around quality that is just really good. You're just like, this is
So
good.
endearing.
This is good. I'm going to watch this for a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to watch on TikTok too. If you're wondering why I'm laughing, it's because a goat jumped off someone's head. Okay, guys? Like, that's why. It doesn't take a lot to make me laugh.
Thank God for animal videos.
I know, right?
Where would we be without animal videos?
My secret Chinese spy is sending me animal videos. She's like, wow, this woman really likes animals.
I'll tell you the one account that, I don't use TikTok a lot, but I was upset when it went away for 6 hours because I got really hooked on Cellar Door Equestrian, which is this, like, it's the barn in Los Angeles, where, like, some people that I work with now ride, and then the trainer does the funniest TikToks. And then she had Boyd Martin do a clinic over the weekend. Mm-hmm. And
maybe that's why it's popping up on my feed.
That's why, because my publisher sponsored the clinic.
Okay.
And and sent books out there, but I didn't go because it happened at the very last minute, which was unfortunate. But it's really, like, this account is so funny. And if you haven't seen Cellar Door Equestrian before, you need to go watch some of her videos, because the way she mocks us, she's a trainer, but the way she mocks the way we behave and stuff like that is just really wonderful. Like,
and so true, I'm sure. And that's why
also funny. True. It's so funny.
We are adult Ammies are definitely a vibe. Okay. I was talking to my friend this weekend because she showed this was her first show in in 14 years. She's younger than me though. We were like, we're so proud of us. Like, we're walking around being like, we did it. We only did one class. We did a little walk, trot, canter. We rode for 5 minutes, and we're like patting ourselves on the back like we just did the fucking Grand Prix. You know what I mean? We're like, you guys, oh my God. And our trainer's like, wow, you got on. Like, I'm impressed. Like the bar is low, my friends.
Mm-hmm. I think, sometimes people forget that. Yeah, you don't have to do a lot to be like a big deal to yourself and your trainer, because they're not expecting you to go to the Olympics. It's okay. That's for when you're 12. Don't worry about being 12 anymore.
Well, she's very used to us showing up and being like, this needs to be a therapy ride today. And us just talking about our feelings while we walk around on the horse. You know what I mean?
Very much so. Yeah, she's still getting paid the same. So.
Absolutely, she is. So
you paid for her time. Time as a therapist, time as a trainer. It's the same.
She is a friend. So, I was like, I'm so high maintenance. She's like, yeah, you are. But
I've had lessons with my trainer where the first 20 minutes have been both of us just one-on-one going on about our feelings.
Honestly, I think that might actually be like so we're competing. There's only like a few adult teams in New Jersey for our zone. And one of them happens to be in our same town as our barn, and you could clearly see the difference between their riders and our riders. So our riders, we've barely been riding because we like work big heavy careers or whatever, and riding's our fun thing. And their barn they are all retired older women who ride 4 to 5 days a week. And like this is their thing.
I've almost never even heard of that.
Oh
is
my
that
God.
Thing?
It's such a vibe. And I love them. And some of them are even my clients. I respect it. Everything's great. Except there is no way. They swept the entire class.
Sure.
Like, they swept it because they're riding so much. And we're just like, woo, we got on. And they're like, okay, boom, 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 boom. This diagonal. And if I do this in the inside rein. And I'm like, dude, I'm just here for funsies. Okay.
I'll tell you. You know what that reminds me of? Literally something it was a comment I saw on like a free ride post, like the breeches, which are lovely. And their post was like, what are red flags when you're horse showing? And there are all these comments like truly violent acts for like, but somebody posted something about like the old Ammy that shows up with a pony and sweeps the like the super lower classes where everybody just has their green horses. I'm like, that's not a red flag. That is an aspiration.
Oh, yeah.
You need to pause for a moment and think about how awesome her life is, that she's 60 or 70 years old. She showed up with a pony and she's going to sweep the 2-foot class because she fucking wants to. She has no other needs in her life.
Honestly, that's goals.
Yeah, it is. And they used to piss me off when I was a teenager too.
Right,
but
you're
then
competing against it.
Yeah, I was like, man, why won't they move up a level? Oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
They're actually killing it. And I'm super jealous.
Well, and it was so funny because I was like, oh, they're going to be there. And I'm not dropping their names, even though I'm saying nice things. But I was like, oh, they're going to be there. I was like, I doubt in a class of 11 and there's 6 of them. I was like, I doubt I'm going to place. It's fine, whatever. But then one of my clients, she pulled her old horse. And I was like, motherfucker.
Oh my God.
I was like, how many gifts can the universe give this woman right now? You know what I mean? She pulled her old horse and she goes, well, it could go either way. And I was like, you won 2nd place. But,
I'm still,
good for her.
I'm imagining these women now. They're like a motorcycle gang. They're like the Galloping Grannies. And they ride, they win, and then they throw back a bottle of red wine. They have it made. I love them.
No,
I hope their lives are like that.
And it's like that when you go to their barn too. They'll be like, oh yeah, they can come at any time of the day because they're retired. Wow. They all just go to shows. They play with each other. They usually have a flask of something on the sidelines. So my friends and I decided we wanted to aspire to be that way, but we didn't prepare. So I asked my kids' friends, the parents. So I drove my daughter and her friend down, and then the parents met us. Because I had to be there early, And I asked them, I said, can you drive Zoe home? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Why? Do you have an appointment? I said, yeah, at the bar. And I met my 2 other friends. So the show was an hour and 45 minutes away. We drove an hour and 45 minutes back to one of our favorite bars. And we went and had a cocktail because we fucking deserved it. And then we had carbs. And I tell you, it was the best celebration ever.
I'll bet.
Oh my God. It was a great Sunday. I would 100% show if I could have cocktails after. That
makes sense.
I'm goal oriented.
Well, that's why dressage is great. You know exactly what time you're riding, right? You do a light warm up. You go in and do your test. You put your horse away. You go have a drink.
Yeah, then you're done.
Great day.
Yeah, and I actually do see less temper tantrums in dressage from horses. I've seen it. Trust me.
Yeah.
They're forward horses for a reason, right? But it's generally a little safer, and so maybe
because you can't have them worn out when you go. It's the one.
Yeah.
It's the one discipline where you really need them on their toes when they go into the arena. They really can't be worn out. So
Right. And I feel like you're I was watching my friends my one friend did the crossfit class and my other friend just did the flat with me because the baby steps. We haven't jumped a course in it over a decade. We're not going to do it in front of judges and other people, right?
Yeah.
On horses, we don't know. If I jumped that horse, Jesus Christ, I would be dead. He's very markedly was absent from all the jumping classes, by the way. But yeah, but we were like, okay, maybe next year we ride, and we came up with a plan that we're going to ride different horses at the barn and do a little Russian roulette in lessons. And that maybe next year we'll be a little bit more competitive because we dipped our toes in and we didn't die. And and so this year was I'm going to do IA, and next year is going to be now I'm actually going to compete. I
love it.
Yeah. I wasn't competing this year really. I was just trying to dip my toes.
You just wanted to show up a couple times.
I wanted to show up, but now I know that I'm not going to vomit. And I actually feel like if I try really hard, I might actually ribbon because now I want a ribbon because now I feel like I deserve one. So I've got that goal. I was like, maybe just one ribbon.
She's going to chase ribbons this year, folks.
I mean, no, literally one ribbon all season. If I get one ribbon, that's a win. Is a mosquito chasing you again?
Mosquito's back. Mosquito's back. It's a really big mosquito, you guys.
All right. So why don't we do adulting and then let you go so you can kill that motherfucker.
Gotta get out of this room.
Yeah. I know. It's chasing you. I feel like you're just ready to get attacked.
I am. I'm under attack. I'm being dive bombed. It's like a B-52 bomber in here. A Spitfire.
I can actually hear it through your microphone.
Nuh-uh.
I'm kidding. So ridiculous. Can you imagine? I'd be like, get out of the room right now. I think it's got a bomb strapped to it. You're so ridiculous.
My adulting win this week is that I'm going on a cruise on Friday. Bye, bitches.
Stop. I'm so jealous.
This was my, remember when I was like drowning in November?
Yeah.
I got through it in part by promising myself I would go on a cruise the second I could, and I couldn't in November, but I was able to book it for the last weekend of the month, so I'm going on Friday.
That is amazing. Where are you going?
Nowhere special, the Bahamas. But I'm going on a Disney cruise.
Of course you are.
And I have spa passes. And I have a premium bourbon tasting. So it will be a very adult Disney cruise. Yeah. So
That's super fun. That's super fun.
happy.
I right now I actually don't have too much travel booked. I did decide to book because Horse World Expo got canceled.
Right.
For
At
us.
least for us. Not for other people.
For us.
Yeah.
Please still go. For us. And so I decided to book a trip to Dallas to get the first part of my new tattoo done.
Oh, wow.
So I'm flying in just to get my tattoo started.
That's very adult.
Yeah, so that I can go finish it on when I go down for the AHP conference in May, so I can go finish it. I also purchased PBR Elimination Finals tickets while we're down at the Stockyards in Dallas, because why not? This year is all about experiences for me, so like all I want to do is just like live life, love, whatever the fuck that is. But I just want to like
live
go.
life, love, that's great.
Yeah,
it's better than live, love.
Yeah, whatever, right? And so I've got that planned, but I'm definitely sneaky looking for. I've got a weekend in February that's currently blank, and I'm thinking I might just dip out and go somewhere warm for a weekend, and
I think you should
like a spa weekend somewhere just for no reason. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking, and I'm also putting the final touches into my Iceland 2026 trip.
Oh.
It is going to be epic, and I have so many people interested that I don't even know if I can advertise it. So,
wow.
Yeah, so right now I have 5 people who are like really into going, and I only have like 8 spots total. So, if anybody listening wants to go to Iceland in 2026 and wants to do like the early bird pricing before I even list it, hit me up. Okay?
Wow.
Because this one's going to be epic. Like we're going to be riding up and down the black sand beaches. We're going to be going along the river and the geyser area. We're going to be doing some really amazing stuff. So I cannot wait. And so all this catch riding is just going to practice for riding the Icelandic horse.
Absolutely. Very exciting. Good for you.
I know. So that's what I just want to travel. I just want to get the full go of my house.
Makes sense.
Yes. Yay.
Yay.
Oh, all right. I love you. I will talk to you soon.
Peace.